Here's what usually happens when a market is growing this fast. Either prices keep climbing or the market corrects hard. Pick one. Those are the two scripts everyone expects. But Moncton, well, it's been one of Canada's fastest growing metros for the last several years. And the January 2026 data just showed something different. Not the correction everyone was bracing for, not the continued price acceleration either. The market just shifted. And if you're thinking about buying or selling here, what happened isn't what the headlines are talking about. And this isn't another, here's the market breakdown. This is about understanding why that shift matters for you right now. Hey everyone, I'm Cameron Brio, a realtor here in Moncton, New Brunswick. If you're new here, I make videos weekly breaking down what's actually happening in the real estate market. Not hype, not speculation, just real data, real context, and real meaning. This video is an exclusive collaboration with some of the top real estate YouTubers from across North America, where we're each breaking down what's really happening in our own local markets. And this is the stuff that you won't hear on the evening news or read in some generic Instagram post. If you want the real inside scoop on what's going down in these markets beyond your own backyard, make sure you check out all the videos that are linked down below in the description. And these are not just random YouTubers. These are people who know their markets inside and out. And if this kind of analysis is helpful to you, please hit that subscribe button and like the video. It does help more people find content just like this. All right, let's dive in. Let me set the stage. 4 years ago, Moncton wasn't on the radar for most Canadians looking to relocate, but something shifted. Maybe it was remote work. Maybe it was affordability. Maybe it was people who were just getting tired of paying over $1 million for a small place to live. Whatever the reason, people started moving here, and it was a lot of people. The numbers are real. Moncton consistently has been ranking at the top of the fastest growing metros across Canada, and we're talking about 3 to 4% in annual population growth. That's not small town growth, that is transformational growth. What's interesting? That kind of growth brings people who need homes, newcomers, families, professionals, all looking for a place to live. For the last 3 years, that incoming demand met a supply in a constrained market. The result? Well, it was exactly what you would expect. Prices continued to climb, inventory stayed relatively tight, and sellers had most of the power. Fast forward to January 2026. In January, 182 homes sold across Greater Moncton, and that's down just 2.2% from last year. Sales are stable. They're not crashing, they're not surging, they're just stable. But here's where it gets interesting. Prices are down. The average sale price fell about 5.6% to $373,997, and the median price was actually $360,000. The price growth has slowed slightly. Now, you might think that this is bad news, but context matters. This isn't a crash, this is a slight cooling, and cooling allows for growth. The real story here is in the inventory. The active listings jumped about 10.5% to 949 homes for sale. That is one of the highest that we've seen in the last few years in January. For the first time in about 4 years in our cycle, buyers have true options. And that inventory number tells you everything. We're at 5.2 months of inventory. A balanced market sits at 3 to 6 months. This is the inflection point. Growth didn't stop, but the power dynamic in the market did. Before we go further, let me be clear about what this market shift does not mean. It does not mean that the market is broken. It does not mean Moncton's growth is over. And it absolutely does not mean prices are going to crash another 25%. Growth is still happening. People are still moving here. The fundamentals that attract people are the affordability, the growing job market, and the quality of life. None of that has changed. After all, it is January, it is the dead of winter, but know that the distribution market with 949 active listings, the supply has caught up, at least temporarily. Here's the reframe to consider. This is not a buyer's crash or a seller's collapse. This is the market becoming a little bit more mature. What we're seeing here is the market normalizing after 4 years of abnormal growth. For buyers, this is genuinely good news. You have leverage that you have not had in years. Homes are staying on the market just a little bit longer. The median days on market jumped 19.6% to 67 days this month, and that gives you time. Time to tour, time to think, time to make decisions without panic. The sale to list price ratio is stable at 96.5%. That means that homes are selling for about 3.5% below asking. So for the most part, no multiple offers, just normal negotiation. For sellers, and this is critical, the strategy has changed. You can no longer price your house and hope to expect a bidding war. You have to price it right from day one. You are competing with many other listings out on the market. And guess what? Buyers can afford to be choosy. But, and this is the part that most people miss, the market is still fundamentally healthy. Sales are not collapsing, prices are not plummeting. What's happening is that inventory is building, plain and simple. We are moving towards normal, and this is completely normal for a January. Here's the thing about a balanced market. They reward thoughtful decisions. When you rush, you fail, and rush deals always fail. But careful, well-researched decisions, they work in any market. Now, the overall market is balanced, but not all property types are moving in the same direction. And this is interesting. This is the first month back where our board has clearly defined each property type as it relates to sales. Looking at single-family homes, which is the core of the market, the most. Sales in this category dropped about 70%. Now, I'm not entirely sure if this is because they took out semi-detached homes from this category. It wasn't clear on how the data was exported, but know that the new average price of this home category is $382,499 across all of Greater Moncton. And these homes are actually taking the longest to sell at 77 days. Now, semi-detached and townhomes allow an entry point to the market. People are also looking for affordability. Townhouses and semi-detached homes offer more value per dollar. As prices soften, these segments become more attractive. The apartment market is interesting, though I'm not really sure that it's worth mentioning because there was only 2 sales reported in January. Inventory is building in this segment. Now, here's something critical that a lot of market reports might miss. The overall balanced market doesn't mean that every district, every area is balanced. It certainly doesn't. Moncton North led the market with 26 sales in January. Moncton Center had 19, and these areas are still very competitive because they are some of the most dense areas, they're very accessible, and they've always been really popular. But even there, the pressure has eased compared to 2024 and 2025. Rural Moncton, for example, recorded the highest average price at $599,000. And that area is going to give you a different type of lifestyle with a little bit more land. Riverview Center, their average price was $541,000. And the Shediac area, all-encompassing, was $505,000. These areas aren't softening. They actually saw a slight increase when you're looking at month over month. The point is, when you're shopping for a specific neighborhood, you're working in the smaller micro market. And that micro market may have different conditions than the broader balanced market that you might hear in the news or on videos like this. So do your neighborhood research, learn how to ask some critical questions. Let me be direct about what all of this could mean, depending on where you are. If you are a buyer, this, in my opinion, is one of the best markets we've had access to in 4 years. You have time, you have options, you have negotiating power in some situations, but don't confuse better market with the fact that the market could change. Growth is still happening, properties are in high demand, and you've got to consider the season. Though the scarcity premium is gone, location value remains, and you want to get clear on what you actually need. So, get pre-approved, don't wait for another 10% price drop, because that might not happen. If you're a seller, your home will sell, but not automatically, and probably not over asking. So, you want to price it correctly from day one and understand all of the comparable sales. The sold prices are the actual data that will determine the range of prices that your house could potentially sell at, not the list price and not what your neighbor thinks you could get. Another thing, if your house has been on the market for a bit, maybe there's fall photos, you'll want to consider updating the exterior photos to show it was snow. For a pro tip, you'll want to work with somebody who understands this balanced market dynamic and be prepared to negotiate. If you're just thinking it through, that's normal. Markets shift, growth cycles mature. You don't need to rush, but also don't need to wait for the markets to prove itself again. If home ownership makes sense for your life right now, the conditions are reasonable. Here's what I know. People who make the best real estate decisions are not reacting to headlines. They're thinking clearly about the situation, their timeline, their goals. Then they move when the conditions align. But let me know down in the comments below. What are you doing? Are you waiting on the sidelines? Also, if you want to check out video updates from across North America, head down to the description. All the videos are linked. If you found this breakdown useful, hit the like button and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.